Next, NASA says its Voyager 1 probe, the most distant human-made object in the universe, is sending usable information to Earth again after months of spouting gibberish. The spaceship left the solar system in 2012 and is currently more than 15 billion miles from Earth.
Voyager 1 will continue its voyage across the galaxy, currently traveling at approximately 38,000 miles per hour. It will orbit the Milky Way for billions of years, unless it encounters another object, which is highly unlikely. On board, Voyager 1 carries the renowned Golden Record, a time capsule filled with sounds and images from Earth, meant for any intelligent life that may one day find it. Beyond the data it sends, Voyager 1 holds a greater significance. It symbolizes humanity's first step into the cosmos, an ambassador of Earth drifting through the vastness between the stars. Even long after its transmission cease, Voyager 1 will stand as a lasting symbol of human curiosity, innovation, and our unyielding drive to explore the unknown. It began to respond, almost like it had been waiting for someone to finally get it. What first seemed like static slowly revealed structure. Not just random shapes, these were patterns, spirals, grids, lines, all woven from numbers. This wasn't noise. This wasn't an accident. It looked like a code. A blueprint. Something intentional. Buried in the signal, the chip extracted long strings of numbers, primes, mathematical sequences, ratios that hold steady no matter the scale. These weren't instructions Voyager 1 was ever given. Some of the numbers closely resembled known physical constants, but not exactly. They were altered. Deliberately. They followed a logic of their own. Voyager 1 doesn't have the brains for this. It wasn't built to craft intricate messages in mathematical spirals. It just sends back basic data, temperature, position, simple stuff. And yet, here it was, something far more complex, hiding in the transmission. Parts of the message felt strangely familiar, almost like they'd been lifted from that golden record attached to Voyager, the one packed with Earth sounds, images, music, and math. But these weren't just copies. They were altered, reimagined, as if something, or someone, had received the record, interpreted it, and sent a personalized response. At first, scientists chalked it up to a glitch, just digital noise. But the chances of these patterns appearing at random are almost impossible. We're talking odds smaller than 1 in 10 followed by 87 zeros. This wasn't an accident. The real mystery now is, where is it coming from? The signal still seems to originate from Voyager, same strength, same rhythm, but the content is completely different. It's fresh. Unprecedented. One theory is that something out there has intercepted Voyager's transmission and is using it like a vehicle, inserting its own message and beaming it back to us. Another possibility? That Voyager had a hidden function, some deeply buried program designed to activate only once it left the influence of the sun. And when it crossed that invisible boundary, the message began. That kind of timing feels far too precise to be coincidence. Some scientists believe Voyager might have encountered something unusual out there, not a rock or dust cloud, but a system, a machine, maybe even something with intelligence. And whatever it is, it may have figured out how to communicate, not by sending its own signal, but by hijacking ours, bending it in a way we could understand. There's debate. Some experts are skeptical of the new chip, arguing it might be misinterpreting the data, seeing patterns that aren't really there. But others counter that the chip didn't invent the message, it simply uncovered what was already hidden in the data. That data came from space, the chip just helped make sense of it. To verify, labs around the world are examining the same signal using different computers, different methods, and even alternate ways of contacting Voyager, making sure it's not just a glitch or interference. These tests are still underway, but so far, the message hasn't changed. The spiral patterns haven't disappeared. The numbers still follow the same logic. Every new signal carries the same framework, just with slight variations. That points to something that's learning, adapting, not making random guesses. It seems to remember what it sent before and keeps building on it. Now, people are starting to ask what else we might have overlooked. If this message has been hidden in the signal for months, or even years, What about older missions? What about Galileo, Cassini, or Pioneer? Scientists have started reanalyzing archived data using the same chip, looking at it all through a new lens. This all began right after Voyager 1 had an actual glitch. It stopped transmitting usable data. NASA fixed it, but immediately after that, the signal changed. That's when the new message appeared. The timing is just too precise to ignore. NASA hasn't offered much explanation. They released a short statement, calling it a complex signal that needs further analysis. But other players aren't waiting. In Europe, teams are ramping up deep space listening efforts. In China, massive radio dishes are now tracking the same transmission. Even Russia is pushing for an international response. Within the scientific community, there's a divide. Some say we need to be cautious, run more tests and confirm. Others argue the math is undeniable. These patterns defy the rules of random chance. If it looks like a message and behaves like a message, maybe it is a message. Still, there are concerns. The chip used is cutting edge. It operates differently than older systems, and there's always the possibility that it's generating false patterns on its own. No one's entirely sure yet how it thinks. It analyzes the entire dataset all at once. That's useful, but it can also hide potential pitfalls. To navigate this, scientists put together a detailed checklist, 17 steps in total. They're working through it one by one, examining everything from how Voyager sends its signal to how it travels through space. They created a complete digital replica of the spacecraft, a digital twin, to help eliminate possible errors. They're checking timing, signal strength, waveform. But nothing matches any known glitch. And the patterns don't look like something a malfunction would produce. They're too clean. Too structured. What's even stranger is that the signal contains elements resembling known constants in physics, but they're slightly off. Not wrong, just different. And those differences form a pattern too. It's as if the message is saying, here's your math. Now here's ours. All of this is coming from a spacecraft launched in 1977, smaller than a car, powered by the slow decay of radioactive metal. And now, that same machine might be transmitting the most complex, deliberate signal we've ever encountered, full of spirals, ratios, and changes that follow no natural law we've seen. The real question is, who, or what, knows we're listening? Life, but not as we know it. It's wild to think about how many things have to line up just right. Still, scientists haven't given up the search. All around the world, researchers are using massive space telescopes to scan the skies for clues. Maybe they'll spot unusual chemicals, like a high amount of oxygen, in the atmosphere of some distant planet. That could hint at something alive, maybe even photosynthesis. We might find signs of life out there before we do on Mars. Some scientists even imagine discovering enormous space structures, colossal things that only incredibly advanced alien civilizations could build. If one of those ever appeared, we'd definitely notice. So far, nothing's turned up, but the search goes on. Now, here's a thought. What if aliens aren't biological at all? What if they're machines? Maybe they were once like us, but after millions of years, they evolved beyond their bodies, transferring their minds into machines. No more hunger, pain, or aging. Just drifting through space forever. Think about Mars. We've already sent machines there, not people. It's easier. Space is brutal for human bodies, freezing temperatures, intense radiation, and zero protection. But machines don't mind. Maybe aliens figured that out ages ago and made the switch. And who knows, if we eventually upload our minds into machines, maybe we'll be the ones drifting across the stars someday. They're searching for water, the foundation for life as we know it. Building blocks like amino acids are found all over the universe. Some scientists believe that life is really just chemistry in the right conditions. Once those conditions are met, the chemistry kicks in. But we still don't know how that very first spark happened. Was it DNA? RNA? What matters most is that there was a pattern, something that could copy itself. That's what life is at its core, a self-replicating pattern that keeps going. Now, some people think aliens have already visited Earth. There are countless stories of unidentified flying objects, strange lights, bizarre sightings. But without solid proof, no clear photos, no hard data, it all remains speculation.